We're having a discussion with our elders, and we're trying to get one of our grandmothers on. As you see, I have with me today the lovely Miss Velvet Dozier, Grandma Velvet, as we like to call her. She's on with us today, and soon we'll have Grandma Kate will be on with us later on. So we're just thankful for another day, thinking that you guys were able to join us. We just like to share our community with you every once in a while. We're just going to talk to them, have a little discussion today, and just see how they're feeling about some of the events that are going on around the world. Get some advice from them, you know, when Bianca and I, when we talk about love, when we talk about being parents, when we talk about, you know, just trying to be good people in society and, you know, pay it back from all of the things that our grandparents and mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles, all of them that they did for us. These are some of the ladies, these are some of the people that we go to and we talk to for that wisdom. So, Miss Velvet, how are you doing today?
I feel highly blessed and highly favored. God woke me up this morning and I was able to get out of my bed in a sound mind and a reasonable portion of health. And God said, without your mind, he could do nothing. And the mind helps rule the whole body along with the heart.
All right. See there? She's always dropping that wisdom, always dropping that knowledge. And this is, you know, we like to sit at the foot of that wisdom and just talk to them and get, you know, sound advice. And sometimes, you know, I believe that in every great community, in every great organization, in everything that you do in life, a great organization is known, or a great city or state or country is known by the way it takes care of the elders and the children, the elders and the young people. If they take care of them, everybody else in the middle will be all right. All right. So we're loving on Grandma today. Like I said, Wifey, she should be in here in a second. But Grandma, what are you feeling today? What's going on in your mind today? Do you have anything for me? Today is what, September 20th, I think. No, September 18th. I'm going too fast. September 18th, 2020. How are you feeling right now with just life in September 18th, 2020?
I still, with all the pandemic and all the things that are going on, people are out of work, don't have any jobs, trying to get some kind of money from, what do you call it, from
the checks and all of that they're giving. Yeah.
Yes, trying to get money and that, and food being dropped off. I got a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah.
I got a roof over my head.
Right.
I got food to eat. I'm able to go to the doctor's office when I need to go.
Right.
And that's very important. It sounds like it's a small thing, but when you see people standing in line trying to pick up groceries and pick up food boxes so they can feed their children, if you're not one of those people, you're highly blessed in times like this. And with this dreaded disease going on, I feel confident that God has brought me this far. And it was by faith, though.
All right.
By faith.
All right.
I had faith in God. And God said he'd never see the righteous forsaken, nor its seed beg bread.
That's right.
I ain't never had to beg for bread. Never in my life. I came from a solid foundation from my mother and my father on the VC side of the family. Always provided for me. I never had to wonder where my next meal was coming from, or they always prepared and made a way. But I'll stop and let y'all ask the questions.
No, that was excellent. Yeah.
And especially with this pandemic going on, God has brought me through many things, many trials, and a few tribulations.
Right.
You don't go through life without experiencing some of the good, the bad, and the indifferent.
Gotcha.
I haven't always not been disappointed. I haven't not always felt had sorrow in my life.
Right.
I've had sorrow.
Right.
But I had a way of God helping me to get through the sorrow, believing in a God that has never forsaken me yet. And he say we have not because we ask not.
That's
and
right.
I make my wishes known unto the God that I serve.
All right.
He already know what I need, but it's up to us to ask of him. Ask and you shall have, and ask you shall receive.
All right.
It's not just put it on somebody, and it can come through many bodies.
Right. Right.
Many sources. So God has not failed me yet. I've never been on welfare. I've never been on Social Security. I've had to sometimes raise 2 to 4 children by myself. But God provided a way for me to do that. Sometimes when things went wrong, am I talking too much? I need to pause.
Not at all. We enjoying you. We enjoying you. And people
I've
are saying,
been through a divorce.
mm-hmm.
I had to take my 2 children, which was, you all know, Alvin and Valerie. And I had to go home with my husband. I put him out, threw his clothes out on the lawn and put him out. And he was paying the rent because he was a veteran working for the VA hospital and that. Back in those days, the men had the job. Women didn't have that many jobs back in that day. They were homemakers, housewives.
Gotcha.
I took my 2 children and went back home to my mother. I had to because I didn't have a job.
Gotcha.
So I could find a way to get some income and sources to pay the rent and do all that because I couldn't pay it. So that was some of the very beginning of that. And if anything else y'all need to know, like I said, I've been married 3 times.
Okay.
Not by choice. My first husband, Alvin Sr., I married him. We were high school sweethearts. He was in the military. I went out. My parents took me to California to visit her sister. She had relatives out there, and he was stationed out there in California. And we decided we wanted to get married. And she said, if I had known that, I never would have brought you out here. Not that she didn't want me to get married, but she wanted to give me a wedding. All the rest of the girls had weddings, but I didn't. We went to the courthouse, we got married, and we had a beautiful life out there. It was in China Lake, California. It's not called that. It was a Navy base. The Marines and the Navy were on the same base together. And that's where Alvin Jr. was born, out there in China Lake, California. Well, when the military service was over, we came back home, back to Inkster, Michigan, and I brought my son home. So then when the first marriage ended, like I said, I threw his clothes all out the window. Out the apartment window upstairs, threw it out on the lawn, took me and my kids and went home. Well, as time went on, I was always going with my mother and father. Since I went back home with them, it was just me. All the other kids were gone, just me and my 2 children. And they were building up, church, establishing churches and missions in different places. I can't think of all the places. And I happened to get acquainted with a man named Bishop Mack. This was as time went on. Well, he was come out to our house on Clink Street. We'd have missions, and we'd go to other places and start missions and churches and stuff like that I got very acquainted with him. He was a little bit older than me, which was fine. I needed a good companion, a good husband for my 2 children and that. And he and I fixed it where he and I could get married. We got married. And his wife, it went separate ways in that. My husband, he went separate ways, so both of us was footloose and fancy free. So he and I got married.
Okay.
Sound like a bad thing, but out of bad, good come.
Right.
It's bad that my husband, he elected out with me help throwing him out. Went off and married. Who else in here listening to all this? Okay. Then I married Bishop Mack. Great. He was a great husband, a great stepfather, and I had 2 children by him, which was Crystal and Aaron. It was a beautiful marriage. Well, he was a foreman, a great preacher, the bishop in the church. Plus, he worked for the Chrysler plant. You know, back in those days, a preacher just couldn't depend on money coming from the church. They had to have a means of providing. So he was a foreman at the Chrysler plant. And when I had Crystal, life story. Come on, just finish it up. When I had the 2 children by him, it was really great. Well, he passed away with a sudden heart attack. So I was living in the church parsonage in that. So I had to move back. I took my 4 children and moved back to Inkster, right? And there I managed to get a job, stayed there for a while working at Ford Motor Company. And I had my own way of making my money, taking care of my 4 children. And out of that, I had some tragedies. I lost my youngest son at 17. He got killed in an automobile accident. It was traumatic, very traumatic. I was able to overcome it. I worked in the plant where a man lost his whole family. And I thank God I only lost 1 child. None of the rest could take its place. But I thank God I had 3 more children. This man lost his whole family. And out of that tragedy, with my husband, preacher, he was marrying and burying people and all that. And if the consolations and the words that he was consoling other people that lost family members, if the words that he spoke to them were true, I had to take it when he died and apply it to my life. And when my son got killed, I had to be thankful for something. And I just said, Father, thank you for having 3 more children. And that, I don't know what other questions y'all would like to ask, but out of all that, I was able to find my 3rd husband at Ford Motor Company. That was Richard Dozier. I'm Velvet Dozier. And he passed away, and I stayed married to him till death do we part. And that. And I don't know what other questions y'all will have, but I can say this, that if you never go through anything, how will you know God will deliver you from it? Sometimes you have to go through and experience some things that's heartbreaking. It's sorrowful. And by going through some of these things and seeing my preacher minister husband do these for other people, I had to take that same spirit and apply it to my life when he passed away. And when my son Aaron died, I had to be thankful for something. And it was that, Lord, well, I didn't at least lose my whole family. I just lost 1 child. And I'll let y'all ask some questions.
Good. That's some good wisdom, because a lot of people are going through. We got fires right now. We got all these Black children, men and women being killed on TV and in public. We've got the coronavirus still rampant. And so I think you just gave everybody a really good antidote, that you have to find something to be grateful for when you are going through. Like, you have to be able to look around and say, what is going to keep me waking up in the morning? What is going to keep me going? And I know your generation and beyond really got us to where we can vote as Black people and as women. And a lot of, I just read a statistic that Trump won in the state of Michigan by 11,000 votes, but 277,000 Black people did not vote. So we have to get out and exercise our right to vote, whether it's for whatever your political preference is, you still should exercise it because somebody died for that right.
Yes, they
did. And you guys were on the front lines doing civil rights and doing all of that stuff. So do you feel like we as a country, do you feel like when you look at the news, we've gone backwards, or what is it, or have we made enough progress? What do you feel being alive during the civil rights, being alive during, you know, times when people were actually being, you know, discriminated against as a way of
Robert Lewis, I think his name Robert Lewis, the man that just died, that he fought and was hit in the head and beat. Well, we were fighting for civil rights, to have the right to vote, the right to sit, not have to go to the back of the bus and sit. And back in those days, you didn't sit up in the bus. Black folks had to go to the back and sit. But by me living in Detroit, I never really had to experience that. But that really was a thing. And you couldn't stop and eat anywhere you wanted to eat.
Stuff we take for granted.
White folks only.
Yeah.
And we used to travel in that. We traveled from Michigan to California and that. Well, my parents would provide food. We'd stop at a park or somewhere and cook our food and that, and sleep in the car and all, you know, rest till we got to where we were going and that. But some of the things that a lot of people had to experience, I was kind of sheltered from some of it by living in the city of Detroit, and that
it was more progressive, huh?
A little more tolerable, you know, than some of the other places in the deep South and that. The deep South, like Alabama, Georgia, and it was very, very segregated in that. So being young, we know where we was permitted to go, where we were not permitted to go in that. So.
How did you not live in fear? Because really that's something that a lot of people every day they walk out the door. How did you, traveling from Michigan to California, not live in fear of what if we get stopped? What happens if we run into the wrong people?
Just took God with you, and we didn't let fear stop us. It really wasn't. The greatest thing I used to stop was when my children got older, like Alvin, and they were driving and that, and I told them if the police stop them, put your hands on the dashboard, don't be reaching for anything, and stop. If they asked you to get out of the car, get out of the car. I was really worried about the young boys, if you had a boy, and he was my oldest son and that, and worried about, but we lived in a city that was very tolerable to our race of people. In Inkster, there was one whole Black side that the government built homes there for the soldiers, and said where Alabama live at, and that. And the other, there was Dearborn, all white people. Garden City, all white people. And any other little thing, basically all white people. But Inkster was this one little section that we were very proud of, and we were treated with decency and respect. Even the Judge McCursky and that. Well, I know one time I was going through something with one of my husband's house, and I took him to there, and he said, "Listen, miss," he would tell the ladies, "there's one thing I can't do. I can't make your husband stay home, but I can make him treat you treat you right in that. But that's just a little joke in that. But they were very sympathetic to our causes and that. And our Black people, men didn't have to worry as much because Inkster was that part, we ruled that part of our Black city in decency and honor in that because we were raised like that.
So I'm hearing you say a few things. Is also you did have what we call the talk with your children, so they knew how to interact with policemen. We call that the talk these days. There was a whole movie there's a lot of movies about it now, but The Hate U Give, Thug, they kind of highlighted that you talk to your children about what to do when they interact with police. Then the Black community had pride in their community and took care of it. And when we have respect for ourselves, other people also have respect for what we have. I don't know, there's some people that would say, even in this day and time, that hasn't necessarily been the case. Is there anything you want to read from the comments or anything?
No, just family is commenting, saying hi, your nieces and cousins and everybody saying hi to you, Grandma Velvet, and they really enjoy what you drop in some of the knowledge. So I heard you talk about like your past relationships and stuff. What kind of advice would you give for Bianca and I in our relationship? What for success, for us to keep going and making sure that we stay on the right path with each other? What kind of advice would you give to us for relationships?
Well, knowing both of you, as what I know of you, y'all were both raised by good family, good foundation your mother and your father put in you, Kenneth, and what Bianca's mother and father and family put into her. Just do the right thing. It's all right to disagree. It's all right. Don't have to have the same. It's to have your own opinion about something. She has a right to hers. It doesn't make it be right or wrong, but in having conversation, respect each other's a right to have a comment or to be able to share their feelings. It don't have to necessarily be yours, but she has a right to hers and you have a right to hers. And you were brought up in church, raised up, you know right from wrong. And if you love somebody, you don't want to deliberately want to do something to cause the marriage to go off rail or go astray in that. Keep on loving one and doing what you know about the God of Israel, the God that you read about. With love and kindness have I drawn thee. And then the greatest thing he told you, you're going to reap what you sow. If you do something bad to somebody, you're going to reap maybe more than what you did. And that ain't no good feeling. And if you don't want to sow, you don't want to reap bad seeds, don't be careful what you sow. And treat people like you want to be treated. But I do have, if you all, with what you have seen, your parents, my parents were great parents. And I'm sure yours was, Ken, and I know Bianca's was, and that, because for y'all to turn out the way you were. And keep on serving the God of Israel. He'll, if y'all keep believing in what thus said the Lord God of Israel said, and what the Bible says, if you believe that, do it. Do it to one another. Love one another. And you can get angry. People get angry, but you don't have to stay that way.
Right.
You can get up a little upset, a little disturbed. It said, don't let don't let the sun go down on your wrath.
That's right.
That's right.
That grandma get old in that. But I have some things I would like to say to young people.
Say it.
Go ahead.
Go on. They listening.
Yeah.
Teenagers. I know this is a day and time when tattoos and all of those things are very prevalent, and it seems like the right thing to do because it's common this day and time. Be careful how you mark up your body, and your face, and all these dreaded looking tattoos and that. Sometimes back in the day, people didn't want to hire people that was all marked up with tattoos and things like that.
Right.
A tattoo every now and then, put in special places where they can't be really noticeable, but all up and down the arms, all up in the neck, and on top of the head and everywhere else. Be sensible about your tattoos, because it really, I know it's a thing that's happening right this day and time and that, and but it don't make it always be to overdo something is bad when you overdo it. I'm not talking about a decent tattoo here or there. I've seen people with them, and I didn't frown up on it or not like it. But when you go to the stream and mark your face all up and your neck all up and put just tattoos that's over and beyond necessary, it makes a person, I know I wouldn't want to hire nobody like that. It's all marked up and messed up and that is. So be careful what you do to your body, and be careful of smoking and drinking and all those. Look around you and see what weed is legal now, isn't it?
That's right. In most places.
It's legal in most states, and that a little weed maybe every now and then. But because they say it's legal, for me to tell you not do it, you probably gonna do it. But be careful what you put in your body.
Yeah.
Be very careful for what you do, what you drink. If we was always taught, if you went out somewhere and you were drinking something, make sure you watch what your cup, your glass.
Right. That's wisdom.
They can put something in there. You don't even know they put it in there.
Yeah, that's true.
So be very careful and watch what you're drinking, watch what you're eating, and especially watch where you go. And most of all, watch what company you pick, the kind of people you hang around with.
Go on, tell them, Grandma.
I told my son Alvin, you driving my car. I don't smoke in it. And you ain't got no business. You ain't supposed to be smoking. Don't you be hauling nobody around in my car with smoking, and I don't know what they're smoking and all that kind of stuff. Pick your friends wisely. I know when I was a teenager and my parents let us go out, we had a respectable time to come home and to be at home. But I couldn't go nowhere and hang out with somebody if I was ride or get in a car with a boy and somewhere gonna take me off and can't get me back from the time to be with my sister. Sometimes we girls would go out together at the rec and stuff. I may have a boyfriend, which I usually did. I'm telling you, married. And if I wanted to go somewhere, I better hurry up and get back before it's time for us to head back home. And that, make sure you pick decent friends. I'm gonna make a scenario. Alvin could be driving my car. He got an undesirable friend. What if they go in there and rob a store? He don't know they're gonna do it. Run back and get in my car. And guess what he would be? The getaway driver.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I've heard people that's happened to.
Yes.
Actually happened to.
Yeah, and so that's very important to choose your friends that the family is expecting the same rules to obey the law by. But if you're gonna hang with any, you don't know what they're capable of doing. They can be carrying a gun around. Police stop you first thing, they're gonna put it on the floor.
Yeah.
And guess what? The one that driving the car is gonna help be what? Pretty much help responsible unless they catch it on the person that got it.
That's true.
So be careful what you drink and what you smoke. You ought to look around and see what these drugs do to people. They irresponsible. They out of touch with reality. Drugs do it makes them do things that they shouldn't be doing. And you shouldn't hang around with. You should pick your friends that have the same kind of moral obligations that you have to deal with. Wow. Because then you wouldn't have to worry about somebody going in there robbing the store, going in there jacking up somebody and running back and getting in. They ain't even driving. They don't even have nothing to do with the car, but they're a passenger. But guess what? The driver gonna be the getaway. But I'm gonna stop and pause for a minute. Like I said, I've had my shares and ups and downs and that. But with the faith that I had in the God that I serve, He has never failed me yet. I've had, at this present time, I've had 2 open heart surgeries, 2 heart surgeries. And God has brought me through them. I didn't have no fear. I just believed that God would work through the doctors, and I asked God to help operate through the doctors and make sure they do the right thing. And He brought me through all that. I've had pneumonia and all that stuff.
Yeah. And a mini stroke too, Grandma.
I had oh Lord, I'm glad you brought that up. One day, now I never had headaches, and I had a headache, and it was unusual, very uncomfortable in that, but I asked God, please, Father, don't let me have a debilitating stroke. I asked Him. I know stroke because I had a girlfriend that just died from something like that.
Wow. So in the midst of the storm, she started praying.
Yes, wow. And I asked Him. I went to the doctor. I was at Aunt Velma's house. I fell out on the floor. I hit the floor. I could have hit my head on something, but God saw that I didn't. And anyway, they said I had a mini stroke, but guess what? It was not debilitating. And that's what I asked God, not to let it be where I wouldn't be able to think and function. And
wow, that's dropping dimes right there, Grandma, because a lot of us are very intuitive. A lot of us have spiritual gifts. So not only were you conscious enough to say, wow, something is going on with me that I haven't experienced before, but the spirit, you were in tune enough to know, if this is what I think it is, don't let it be debilitating. You were specific in what you put out in the universe, or what you pray, whatever way you want to think about it. And I think right now people need to hear that, because a lot of people are going through different storms. And if you are woke enough to hear and to understand what's happening to you, then you have to be able to sometimes spit out that little bit of positivity over yourself to save your own life, like to be your own lifeline. Yeah. So that's powerful, Grandma, that you had the presence of mind to tap in.
God, what I didn't want, please don't let it be something I knew. It could have been a stroke. I didn't want it to be one. It could have been, but please, God, don't let it be. And it wasn't that severe. But for nowadays, everybody should be taking a baby aspirin, because that helps the blood to flow and not clot up and that. So they put me on 81 milligram of that baby aspirin. And I take it every day, and it's good to help keep the blood from clotting up and all those different things in that. But everything I've been through, God has made it possible that I can still say that it's been a wonderful life through it all. And what's going on now with this pandemic of coronavirus and that, I still always have to say that it's in the scripture. God said He'll put the evil disease on them that hate you. Don't they say that in that scripture?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't hate nobody. I don't even hate Donald Trump. I don't like what he stands for and what he represents. But for me to hate him, he ain't worth my life. Me losing my life on hating somebody, to me, ain't worth hating. Because he gonna reap what he sows sooner or later.
People need to hear that. Okay.
He gonna reap what he sows.
So let go of the hate Because hate results in sickness.
Messes up your heart. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It muddies your heart.
It
Wow.
does.
And God said, but the greatest thing, God said he don't dwell in no unclean temple. Now, if you hating,
Right.
I want, when God talk to me, I want to be able to hear it.
Right.
I want my mind on off on something like Donald Trump. Excuse my French. What the hell? Hell is a condition.
Right.
It's a place most folks, they put it in the ground, but it's more walking around on top. Everything dead. Everything in the ground is dead.
Right.
I mean, they bury that. I told my son one time we riding around here in California, I said, it's amazing. And everything, ain't nothing green nowhere but in the graveyard, and all them folks are dead. God just brought that to me, because without any rain or anything, the vegetation will die. But in them graveyards and places of importance, water and do all it. But God just, and I'm just thinking all them over there dead, and they got all the pretty green grass and everything, and they can't see it. That's just old wisdom.
Grandma, somebody on asked, how do you keep your spunk? How do you keep your spunk? That's what they asked.
By going to church.
Okay.
By believing like I told you, God said he don't dwell in no unclean temple. I don't hate anybody. I even ask prayer for some undesirable people because they need it. Because if they know what they're going to reap and what they're going to sow, they wouldn't do what they do. Sometimes people think they doing something to hurt you. They can't hurt you if your mind is above that stuff. So I ain't gonna pay for you. You may think you hurting me. You may think you doing something to cause me to kill or steal some of my joy, but you can't take it away from me. I have to give it away.
That's right.
Because I don't have to accept what you're saying about me. And if you saying something undesirable and something is wrong, you need prayer, because you're going to pray. And I need to have God pray for you, because you are going to pay for the things that you do to other people. And I keep it by going to church, believing in God, a God that has let me live up until 83 years and brought me through my trials. And I can't deny that now. I keep, that's, every morning I wake up, I thank God for letting me wake up in the morning. I pray for my children. I start off with Alvin, Valerie, Crystal. Then I go with my grandchildren, Bianca and her family and all that. Each one name house by house. Then I go to my siblings, my sister Ruth and all that, and her family, and Velma and her family. And my youngest sister, Christine, and her family, and my brother that's in the hospital now that I would like for y'all to pray for.
Okay.
My brother Venus is in the hospital now, and I'm going to call and check on him. But how can I not wake up? And then when I lay down at night, I pray, build a wall of protection around my home. Keep me safe from all hurt, harm, and danger, because people can break in your house.
That's right.
I ask God to build a wall of protection around it.
This is some facts, y'all. Hope you're taking notes.
Yeah, ask God to protect your comings and your going. And my twin sister used to say would be Aunt Velma, Lord, we get in the car, don't let me run into no crazy folks. That's a beautiful prayer, because there's a lot of crazy people out there.
Yeah.
They got a lot of reasons to be upset. A lot of people trying to get money and get them checks that they bailing off them. They got so many people, everybody ain't even getting all that. But God is, what am I worried about? I got a reasonable portion of health. I can walk, I can talk. I'm able to live by myself, and that, though my son is next door and he helps anything that I need. He goes to the doctor with me. I let him sit in there and listen. And so I got more to be thankful for than I have to be worrying about something. I know how my bills are going to be paid. I know that. I know a lot of people don't know that.
That's true.
A lot of people don't know where their next meal coming from.
Right, right.
But I do know that I can go to the doctor if I need to go, and just live a life of that God, when He wants to talk to you, you can hear Him. Kendall, think about this. What if God trying to tell you something? Don't do this, don't do that, and your mind is off on some BS, off on something that God ain't pleased with. Do you think you can hear God telling you?
No.
Nope. You won't listen. So it's a very important to keep your mind in a state where when God do speak, you'll listen to Him. And I know His voice. I've been acquainted with it for so long. I've been said when He tell me to do something, I find myself getting up right away, go do it. Guess what? It turned out all right.
All right.
It says try the Spirit, by the Spirit, to see whether it be of God or not.
Right.
And then again, I want to say, if you never went through anything, how you know whether God gonna deliver you? Oh, He gonna bring you through. Wow. Sometimes we have to go through some difficult times, but with the faith and the love of God and keeping a right mind, He'll see you through it. See you through it.
Grandma, you dropped so much knowledge tonight.
Yeah, we really appreciate this coming on with us.
We're going to have you on again, and hopefully some of the others will join you.
Yeah.
But I won't step out of the house until I say, Holy Father, go with me and smite old death threatening ways before me.
All right.
Threaten it, because you can be anything. You can be doing everything right.
Ain't that the truth?
Somebody else, there's so many fools out there. Or you can be sitting waiting and folks come up to you and do that.
Yeah.
Just keep a clean heart and a clean spirit, and you can listen to when God talks, because He is never, I know His voice.
All right. Well,
I am well pleased. I hope the Community of Restoration and Enlightenment, we shared our Grandma Velvet with you tonight, and we're blessed enough to have Grandma Page, a Grandma Poindexter, a Grandpa.
Oh, powerful people.
And a Grandma Kay. So we have
those are powerful people's names that you just called off.
That's right. And then great aunts and uncles that's still living. So if you can get up under some wisdom, you should. And if you have some, be grateful. And I hope you are appreciative that we shared our foot of wisdom with you this evening, and we'll have her on again. If you have something you want us to ask, just let us know, and keep your mind clean, y'all. Stay in the safety zone and ask.
Because God don't dwell in no unclean mind.
All right. That's right.
He don't.
Hey,
you can't be enlightened, but you can't hear it.
You can't hear. That's right. That's right. All right, y'all. So follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and IG, TheCoreofU, the CORE of letter U. And share. If you've got some wisdom out of this, don't keep it to yourself. Share. And let us know what you want us to touch on next. And Grandma Velvet, we are so blessed to have you. And thank you for being our special guest tonight and holding it down for the elders. And rest in peace, Justice, Notorious RBG. Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
We lost a great.
Yeah. All right, family. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Is there anybody else coming on?
No, we couldn't get them on, Grandma, but we'll get them next time. We got you. We had you all to ourselves.
You held it down, Grandma.